The Cyrodiilic Empire, the greatest empire to ever grace the face of Nirn, stretching from the depths of Blackmarsh to the deserts of Hammerfell. It covers the entirety of Tamriel, and the force projection of the Empire's legions can be found even on top of the greatest mountains of Skyrim, and inside the deepest, darkest depths of the jungled forests of Alnwood. Yet, for all that might, if you were to take a look at the fortifications in Morrowind, you might be forgiven for thinking that the Empire's, greatness might have been a bit overstated, as the blocky architecture and lackluster fortifications and defenses of the Empire's forts in Morrowind are just a bit underwhelming. And, well, I think you know where I'm going with this. That brings me to today's mod of the day, which today is Better Imperial Forts by Delera 1000. And this is an absolutely fantastic and a complete and utter overhaul of the Imperial forts and castles in Morrowind. I mean, this just completely transforms everything about Imperial architecture in Morrowind. As you can see with Ebonheart here, this mod replaces the somewhat boring Imperial architecture from the vanilla game with more realistic medieval, style castle architecture. You've got a variety of different towers that are much more distinguishable now, and by the way, a lot of these towers have, exterior world space interiors, which is absolutely fantastic. So you can actually, see the turrets where archers would, fire arrows at opposing forces. So you can actually, look into the windows there and see where those archers would be. And, the sun can sometimes come, behind those windows, and it is just really scenic. And this also includes some updates to the Ebonheart docks with a realistic medieval crane. And this is just really scenic, especially with Melkor's, Akatosh dragon statue there. And also, this includes scripted drawbridges and gates, which open and close as you approach. And not only that, but they also lock at night, and if you're a criminal, they might not even let you in. But this includes every Imperial fort in the entire game, including Fort Moonmoth, as you can see here. And again, the design here is absolutely epic and imposing, like actually realistically imposing, like for a medieval castle. You can see why the Imperial Legion would be a force to be reckoned with now, because this architecture is absolutely fantastic. I say fantastic a lot, but in this case, just take a look at this. You've got exterior, hallways here, and a lower area with what looks like outdoor dining. And you can climb up these towers and go inside them, and just look out at the Doomer Towers in the background. It is an epic, epic vista, and you gotta love everything about this mod. It is unlike any other fort overhaul I have ever seen for Morrowind. And I should mention that this mod is modular, so it does cover every fort in the entire game, like Fort Moonmoth, Fort Buckmoth, Ebonheart, obviously, as we already saw, Plesiad, Wolverine Hall, and also Fort Frostmoth. But it is modular, so if you have any mods that already, deal with those forts, you can always pick and choose which ones you want. So, that's just a nice little bonus feature here. But going on, taking a look at Plesiad, you'll note that some of these overhauls do actually modify the towns they're in a little bit. So, in Plesiad's case, there are, street lights that go all the way out to the entrance of town, and all the way, they sort of guide you up to the Imperial Fort here. And, speaking of the Imperial Fort, it sort of just dominates the skyline of Plesiad. I mean, it kind of did that already in the vanilla game, but the effect here is just so much more epic and dramatic. Just approaching town, seeing this giant fortification standing on a hill overlooking everything. It's just an impressive visual, and again, the architecture here is just really utterly amazing. Delera has done a fantastic job, translating a real-life medieval architecture into, into the game here, into Morrowind. Like these roof platforms over the walls, and you'll note that there's, little collections of arrows by the windows. So, in case of an attack, archers can just grab the arrows that are already, at the windows and keep firing to repel invaders. And you'll notice that this also overhauls all the courtyards. So you have things like dining areas and smithies and training areas. It is a really detailed and beautiful looking overhaul, and absolutely fantastic in just every way. I mean, Delera has been putting out a ton of amazing content this year. I mean, this came out as part of the May Modathon, and Delera's other mods, Better Dunmer Strongholds and Delera Balmora, are also just really nice looking additions to the game, and I do hope we see a lot more, content in this vein, because this is just really high quality. And, going on to Fort Darius, I should note that this mod does include a couple different versions of Fort Darius. So there's this one, and there's also one that just, focuses on Velothi-style fortifications, if you'd prefer that instead. But anyway, something to note here, frame rate might be a bit of an issue. Personally, I didn't see that big of an impact. I mean, obviously, the frame rate is a bit lower than what it would be in the base game. Certainly, I think, my FPS dropped down to 21 in a few of these forts, especially in Ebonheart. That's where I had the biggest, FPS impact. But there is a lightweight, alternative that you can download, from the mod page, in case, you're worried about FPS issues. So if you are, you have that option. That just gets rid of a lot of the detailing in the courtyards to improve FPS a bit. But either way, this looks really fantastic. Like, Fort Frostmoth here actually looks like a frontier fort. Notice the wooden palisades and the raised groundworks and all that. That is like a realistic portrayal of a frontier, edge of wilderness fort here. It is extremely realistic, I think, and just it looks amazing. And as a note, there is, a sort of, roughed up version of this fort that happens when the werewolves attack, so, the mod author did cover for that. But unfortunately, I don't think there's a VSW version yet, or, a Solstein Tomb of the Snowprince version, so unfortunately, if you use Solstein Tomb of the Snowprince, you can't use this version of Fort Frostmoth, but, that's just one of the mod conflicts here. But anyway, that's just our mod of the day, and it is a fantastic mod of the day, so I'd highly recommend you check it out. But anyway, as always, I've been your host, Dark Elf Guy. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.